Hey guys, this is JJ Andy from Crypto Grinders, and today we have the CEO of Codex Protocol, Mark, with us. Mark, give a shout out to our viewers here.
Hi, thanks for having me. It's really nice to be here, and hello to everyone watching.
Yeah. All right. So, Mark, can you just tell us more about how does the Codex Protocol works?
Sure. So, Codex is a decentralized registry for unique assets, like a title registry. And we're initially focused on art and collectibles. It's a $2 trillion asset class. It includes everything from fine wine to jewelry to watches to fine art to collectible cars to coins. It's what created eBay, and it preserves 6% of high net worth wealth across the world. It's an uncorrelated store of value. And so what we're doing is bringing the provenance of these items onto the blockchain. And we're backed by an industry consortium that ensures the registry can access up to 10 million items worth about $6 billion a year from over 5,000 auction houses across 50 countries.
Okay.
So this system relies on Codex Coin, which is used by third parties who need to access this data and verify it in order to do business. So we're partnered with an asset-backed lender who needs this data in order to quote loans based on value and know things are authentic. We're partnered with an insurance company that needs this data in order to offer insurance of these pieces. We're partnered with auction houses who need this data in order to buy and sell the pieces. We're partnered with an appraisal service so that you can get an overnight appraisal if you own a piece. And we're partnered with a company that fractionalizes the ownership so you can trade tokens, each of which represents a part of the whole. And they're all integrating with us because this data is so critical to doing business in this space.
Right.
The way it works is, in order to use the registry, they'll stake Codex Coin and pay fees, which then funds rewards for validators like artists, auction houses, gallerists, appraisers, the people who ensure this data is correct. So that's a little bit about Codex Coin. I can tell you about the team, advisors, and backers, but let me know if that's clear or if you have any questions.
Right. Okay, great. So these are some of the questions from my team. All right. So we did research on the project. We went through the white paper, and some of them have a lot of questions. Okay. So clarifying for them. So, how are your team going to input all the data from pre-existing items, right, of art and collectibles, into your data in that sense, in your storage?
Sure.
Yep.
So why don't I tell you a little bit about the team, and then I'll answer that question.
Sure.
Sound good?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, great. So, the personal background is previously I started and sold an online marketplace for fine art and collectibles. So I have a pretty deep understanding of this space, the challenges that people face in it, how to solve them, and where to get the data. And my co-founders are super talented. Jess Woolgrave is a thought leader in the art and blockchain space. She has a background at Sotheby's, Credit Suisse, in banking, and private equity, and at Oxford. And our CTO is from the identity division at Microsoft. And what we're doing is creating identity for assets and objects on the blockchain. We have great advisors, including the president of Christie's, the co-founder of Augur, and we have great backers and investors, including Pantera Capital, Bessemer Venture Partners, Kinetic, and others. So we really have a great team to try to make this happen. Now, let me answer your question about where we actually get the data. So there's a bunch of ways to upload data to the registry. You could do so yourself, but the likelihood is people probably wouldn't trust you because you're not an expert. So most of the data is going to be uploaded by auction houses because that's where a lot of the volume is in art and collectibles. Many things circulate through auction houses over time. And that's why we put together a consortium. And in particular, we partnered with the dominant providers of online bidding and catalog management software to about 5,000 auction houses so that those databases just get synced into the registry. And if you purchase a piece, let's say it's a Picasso, you can instantly claim a record on the blockchain proving you purchased it from the auction house you purchased it. And that's just synced in from the auction house's existing systems. And that's how we're getting so many items so quickly, because we're built into the software and systems that are already used by 5,000 auction houses. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so that means you're using data that's already existingly in the market and adding it into your database. Am I right to say that?
That's right. It's fragmented across many different auction houses.
Mm-hmm.
And most importantly, it doesn't include who owns it. It doesn't track the ownership, which is so critical in this market.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you buy a piece, you'll be able to have a proof in the blockchain that you actually purchased it from an auction house, with all the data about the item stored alongside it on the blockchain immutably.
Right. So when you mentioned auction house, right? So how many auction house, in terms of partnership has been, have signed up with you, with Codex in that sense?
So we partnered with the providers of their bidding technology.
Mm-hmm. With Biddable, right?
Yeah. You can visit Live Auctioneers or Auction Mobility.
Mm-hmm.
The tool we've made them is embedded in their existing software and marketplaces.
Yep.
And you're going to be able to bid at all of their auction houses using crypto and get a record on the blockchain when you do. Think of it as a certificate of authenticity.
Right.
Now, we're already live. We're in beta. You can already bid at over 10,000 items with crypto and get records on the blockchain, from Rolexes to Picassos. And that's our beta. So we're with a handful of auction houses. Okay. And we'll be rolling out on an opt-out basis to thousands more over the coming months.
Right. So am I right to say that Codex, it's kind of creating a way, for high net worth people to kind of spend their cryptocurrencies, to collect art, to collect authentic pieces and collectibles, right? So it's a way out, right, to spend cryptocurrencies.
That is one big way I expect that people will use ecosystem that we're creating. A side effect of this is that we're bringing billions of dollars of art, wine, jewelry, watches online and already online, but making it purchasable with cryptocurrency. Okay. And art and collectibles is a really natural fit for crypto wealth. High net worth investors have been using it for hundreds of years as a discrete and uncorrelated store of value. So I think a lot of people in crypto can and should invest in the asset class. It's also the best returning over the last 10 years, with returns from 100 to 400%, depending on the category. So definitely something to consider. It's also fun, interesting stuff to buy.
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, yeah. So one question that I do have, so you mentioned that, so two questions mainly. One is, what cryptocurrencies can I use to buy an art piece?
Right now, we are letting you use Bitcoin, Ether, and Codex Coin.
Right. Okay, great. So, just now you mentioned proof of stake. You mentioned staking, right? Staking contracts, and auction houses will be able to use or even hold your token to stake it to support the network. So can you elaborate on what exactly do you benefit from staking for be it for the auction houses or be it for the users? Yeah. So can you elaborate on that?
Sure. So the way the registry works, there's a registry, which is essentially a database. And then there's applications that use that data. One is a bidding application. Another could be an asset-backed lending application. Another could be just a, owning, buying, selling application. And so the token is required to access the registry. So think of a few potential users. A retail user, yourself, might just want to claim a title or transfer it to a friend, and you have to pay Codex Coin. That's probably what you'll do. Now, if you're an auction house and you're transferring thousands of records, those costs start adding up. And you can lower those costs by staking Codex Coin. And the more you stake, the less you pay. So think of it this way. You could either pay 5 Codex Coin for a given change to the database, or you could stake 5 Codex Coin for to make changes to the database, and you get credit for 5 changes. And so it really depends on whether you're a power user, a wholesale user, or a retail user which you'll likely do. Regardless, the proceeds are used to fund validators because we're a decentralized, community-driven protocol. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, it does. So the other question I have is, so that means to say, if example, I'm an auction house, right? And, I stake and I hold Codex token or the Codex coin. So the rewards that I get is actually in terms of savings, right? Not exactly that I'll be getting more Codex coin in that sense, or airdrops, or whatever term in POS.
That's right. It's discounts.
It's discounts.
Think of it this way. When you get a mortgage on your house,
yep,
or you get a new car, you have to go to the land registry or the Department of Motor Vehicles. And you want to transfer that or put insurance on it or put a car loan on it, you actually have to pay. Works the same way. And it works because this data is valuable. And tracking this data is valuable. And so it's same concept here.
All right, cool. So this is a pretty cute question. Okay, so one of my teammates was wondering, so what are the mechanisms in place, to deter people from spamming the Codex network with fake artworks? Now we know art and collectibles is a very, it's a very niche market in that sense, and there are a lot of different kind of replicas, fakes coming out. So who are the team or who are the people within Codex who can kind of verify it that it's the authentic product?
Sure. So I'll answer this in a few ways. The first is we already have a ton of validators lined up who can attest to the authenticity of things in the registry. For context, at my last company, we created a network of experts who would virtually vet and authenticate thousands of items. And we're using a lot of similar techniques here. But I want to really explain what we're doing here, which is we are enabling you to be confident that authentic items are real, because you'll know that you're buying something from someone who bought it from Christie's or Sotheby's. So we're elevating and empowering you to know what's real. It doesn't mean that we're going to prevent the existence of fakes. But when you come across a fake, there will be no provenance. It won't show that it came from Christie's because Christie's wouldn't have digitally signed it. And so you shouldn't trust that item. So the way we think of it is build up and provide evidence and proof for the real. Don't spend all your time trying to fight the bad. And that's okay. That's how the market works today in the offline world. It's all done by paper and it's way less trustworthy. But you still have to make a judgment of the evidence here is really strong. This is probably authentic, whereas the evidence here is weak. And so we're creating an analog to the offline world in a much more verified and trustworthy way. I think I lost your sound.
Sorry. So you're kind of creating a brand in that sense, right? To be recognized as, when you go to Codex, you definitely get an authentic product and you do not have to worry, right? So it's kind of like a trustworthy network in that sense.
That's not how I describe it.
Okay.
Codex is the registry. We surface the data about items. What you'll trust is where items came from and the various actors in the system who have said it's authentic. So don't trust us. Go to us to find out who sold something in the past,
right?
What appraisers have said it's authentic, and trust them. We'll show you their reputation. We'll tell you who they are. You can learn about them yourself. We can immutably show that that's the piece they actually looked at and what their judgment is. And so that's who you should trust. We're the portal by which you do it.
Right. Okay. Got it. So
it's like you shouldn't trust a house you buy. You should go to the title registry to find out all the information about the house.
Got it.
And then decide whether to trust the house.
Yeah. So it's legal, it's legit in that sense. Okay. Yeah. All right. So could you just elaborate a little bit on token distribution or, in terms of how the funds would be used, to develop the project in that sense?
Sure. So I can't talk too much about the specifics of the token and distribution.
Sure.
but I encourage you to visit the website to learn generally more about the project and any questions you have about it. And I will say that there's this sizable community fund, which is used for rewards to these validators, to applications. Remind me to tell you about one more exciting application I think is relevant here.
Sure.
And, and otherwise to support the ecosystem.
Great. All right. So next question. For Codex token of Codex coin, is it right to say that the auction house will leave $500 worth of Codex coin, and the bidders basically leaves $500 in fiat? So I think the question here is, how does it incentivize holding of Codex tokens for the bidders?
I see.
Yep.
So I'll talk about it in terms of the registry, and then I can also talk about it, if you like, context, which is the first application. But let's talk about it in terms of the registry, because that's really the protocol here. So there are, I think usability is really important, right? You need to make sure that something's easy to use. And often the trade-off there is trust, right? We can either use our own wallets or we can use Coinbase, and Coinbase has a better user experience, but isn't as trustworthy because you're trusting someone else. So we think of it as similarly. There's a few ways you can access the registry. If you are a crypto user, you can access the registry directly. You probably have to use MetaMask. You have perfect privacy, and you'll pay or stake Codex coin yourself. If you're a non-sophisticated user, then you'll probably access the registry through a nice user interface, maybe through a third-party, created by a third-party application developer. Or you might go to your art advisor or your art dealer or the auction house directly and say, I just want you to manage this title. And you'll pay them fiat, and they will transfer to Codex coin and pay or stake Codex coin in the registry. And so I think of there being kind of two funnels. One is crypto users who are sophisticated, and the other are retail users who are not, and who are likely using the registry through an application or through someone who already supports them. The biggest users are going to be the applications, and those are the people who will likely stake the most. So auction houses transfer thousands of titles. They will end up staking. Asset-backed lenders make lots of loans. They'll end up staking. And then anyone who's validating items on the network also has to stake. And so those are the people who will end up holding Codex coin, the people who need to use the data most. And that means they'll also end up governance protocol, which is, I think, how it should be.
Right. Okay. So let's come to the final questions first. So any more partnerships that we're looking at? Now, I understand there's a lot of partnerships with different auction houses, different partnerships. So what other exciting partnerships are there up and coming?
There's a bunch of exciting partnerships.
Is it confidential to share, or is it?
No, I'll give you a sneak preview.
Great. Okay.
So I'll tell you about two partnerships I'm especially excited about. One is with Hefel Galleries. They're the largest auction house in Canada, and they've just signed on as a partner.
Wow.
Really excited for them to come on board. They really believe in the vision of creating this title registry for art and collectibles. Another is with a company called Dust. And Dust ties physical items to digital records. They provide really inexpensive industrial-grade diamond dust, which you can spray on a piece, and it creates a unique crystalline fingerprint that's invisible to the naked eye, but you can scan with an iPhone. Whoa. So you can be sure that that's the same piece that was hashed onto the blockchain previously. Really cool application that provides another layer of security by integrating the registry.
Wow.
So those are two applications and partnerships I'm really excited about.
Well, that's some of the coolest partnership I've heard so far. All right. So Mark, one last question. So can you share with our viewers and us, what are the key roadmaps, beyond this year? Anything else up and coming?
So I think that uh, I'm really excited for what we're doing. We're already finished with the first version of our product. So our title registry is on mainnet, and is on testnet, and it will be on mainnet at the end of this month when we're launching the entire platform.
Right.
And our first application, Biddable, which lets you bid and buy in auctions with crypto, is already live with auction houses. So when we launch, we'll really quickly get massive adoption because we'll be rolled out through thousands of auction houses that have millions and millions of bidders. And so I'm really excited that over the next several months, we'll quickly become one of the largest retail use cases for blockchain. And tracking ownership and provenance is a core use case of blockchain. And so I'm just really excited to bring that to the fore and and show everyone what blockchain can do. And I think we'll do that very rapidly over the coming months.
Wow, that sounds really exciting. All right, so this is all the time we have with Mark. So guys, for you guys, who wants to know more about what Codex Protocol does, feel free to head to the links below and join their Telegram group as well. If you want to know more information about token sale, just head to the website below. All right, so that's all the time we have with Mark. Thank you so much, Mark, for sharing about your project passionately. I really look forward to where Codex will be going in the future. And probably I could just use some crypto to buy a Rolex as well, right?
Certainly good.
All right.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and thanks for all the time.
Yeah.
And thanks everyone listening.
Thank you so much, Mark. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.